Hello, welcome back to REV Endurance Sports and another edition or an episode on coaching. And in this case, we're going to talk about power. And the genesis for this is that I had a gentleman join our ride this morning and his pacing was off. He went really hard on the first few climbs of the day, and there was a few others. We had to get back. We had to get home. And I wanted to show him what proper pacing was like. So I looked at my power file and I sent him a few screenshots. And I thought, why don't I do a video about this? Some folks have asked about power meters. What do I use? Power data. Some folks have privately hit me on pacing for a 6-hour ride. So let's do a quick video about this, and I will define the terms and the methodology later. But let's just see what a graph looks like, and then we will dig deeper and deeper through other videos. Now, the first thing I need to say is I'm just an everyday Joe. I ride my bike. I'm not a pro cyclist, never been a pro cyclist. I am a very good endurance cyclist. So what you'll find is you won't see these ridiculous power numbers. None of that's going to be displayed. I'm not one of those guys. I'm just a regular guy, but I'm very good at pacing. The power meter helps. I've had a power meter since 2003, a variety of different power meters over the years. But the point is, I've been riding with a power meter. I can't understand how anyone could ride without one. Now, it's one of those things. If you never had one, you don't know what you're missing. But once you've been riding with a power meter, it's almost impossible to ride without. Now, let's take a look at Training Peaks. This is not a sponsored video. By Training Peaks or any of the power meters or anything like that. But I want to give you folks an idea of the information that you can get from a power meter and how to use that in your riding. Okay, so let's take a quick look. And this is not one of those fancy productions. I am just going to videotape my screen. And I hope that that works for you. Okay, so what we're going to do is just look at this ride here. This was today's ride. And the first thing you get is a summary, okay? And this is, it's about 2 hours and 40-something minutes, 48 minutes. The distance, the average speed. And, if you live in San Diego, you won't be seeing 17, 18, 20, 23 miles an hour average speed, and none of that is going to happen here. The first number I want to call your attention to, and I will show you a lot throughout these videos, is the normalized power. Okay, so 184 for the entire ride. And it was 3,200 feet of gain. The training stress score, again, I will go deeper into all this terminology. IF, intensity factor, so I rode at about 76% of my max intensity. That's how many kilojoules, and that's a more accurate formula for how much work you did as opposed to calories. And then there's some other data here. Now, we are going to skip all of this and we're going to analyze the file. All right, so here's all the heart rate stuff. I'm going to bypass heart rate for now, but just to show you that this was a tempo ride, and tempo for me is between 146 and 164 heart rate. So this particular ride was 1 hour in 30 minutes of the ride time, so about 54% of this ride was spent in zone 3, and then we go over here for zone 2, and that was another hour. Okay, So we've got an hour and 30 plus another hour. So that's 2:30. And remember, the ride was 2:48. So a little bit of time in zone 1. And of course, that's when you're descending hills and stuff. You're not pedaling. And if you look here, this is zone 4, threshold work. There was only 4 minutes of this ride in a hard threshold effort. Only 4 minutes. Okay, so let's scroll down some more. There's the power. We're going to get into that a little bit later. There's more power. We're going to get into that a little later. But let's just take a look at this. This big gap here, that's just coffee. So we're going to switch this over to distance so that we have the ride. Okay, so there's the ride. And now let me call your attention to some of the data here on this side. This is still the same summary that we had just a second ago, but I've lapped it so that I can show you. For the overall, for the entire ride, my normalized power was 184, which computes out to 2.6 or 2.7 watts per kilogram. And I wanted to maintain 3 watts per kilogram, but over hill and dale, that averages down, okay? But first half of the ride, 1 hour and 23 minutes. There's some stop time for regrouping. So that's why it's 123 here, 132. But normalized power, 185. Okay, so remember, 184 for the entire ride. This is the first half at 185. Okay? Then on the second half, so we'll choose this now. And that's what the graph looks like for the first half. All right, now the second half, pop that in there, 183. And, you know, that's within the margin of error, like 1 watt difference from the overall 2 hours and 48 minutes to just the back half of the ride. Now, I'll put a link in the description of the video and the conversation I had with the gentleman who joined the ride, because I said to him, never do anything in the first hour you cannot repeat in the last hour. And I made the comment also that you gauge that based on the distance, the duration of the ride. So if it's a 2-hour ride, you know you can ride pretty hard on the first half of the ride, first hour, because you know you can ride pretty hard on the back half of the ride. But if it's 3, 4, 5, 6 hours of riding, what you do, you will pay for your sins in that first hour. The things that you do, the excess efforts that you put in, the matches that you burn in that first hour, you're going to pay for that in hour 6, 7. And if you're not paying for it, that's because you're pacing yourself right, and or you can do it, right? So I know I can hold about 3 watts per kilo all day, all day, all day, all day. I would not go out and do 5, 6 watt per kilo efforts if I was going to go out for a 7-hour ride, because at hour 7, there's just no way I would be able to repeat that. Okay, so let's just talk about this watts per kilo information that I was just talking about. So we're going to get our calculator here. And this is what I meant about 2.7. And basically, I weigh today 153 pounds, 69.3 kilograms. So when we look at our calculator, let's go back to Training Peaks. Let's go back to our calculator. So 184 divided by 69.3 kilograms is 2.6 whatever, right? Okay, so that's what I mean by watts per kilogram. You take your weight, convert it to kilograms, and then you divide the wattage number, and that's how you get your watts per kilogram. This number is important because I will show you later on other videos what you can do with the watts per kilogram number and how it is important when comparing folks. Let's say, for example, this gentleman from Ohio sends me data files, and I don't know the climbs he's doing. I don't know any of that stuff, but I see, 180 something, and then I make the watts per kilogram calculation. I could say, oh yeah, you rode for 3 hours at 2.6 watts per kilogram. Yeah, that's pretty much the pace I ride, and it won't matter if it's up a hill, down a hill, flat terrain, or anything like that. So watts per kilogram is really important if I were to compare two riders, especially two riders that weigh very different weights. So a 115-pound rider to a 180-pound rider. Convert that over to watts per kilogram, and that will make the conversion or the comparison really easy to do. Okay, that's all for today. I want to give you folks a lesson over time on how to use a power meter, how to analyze the data, how to pace yourself properly. And I've got a lot of other files in here that I have dog-eared from events that I've done and how I compare those files to other riders. And then I can do that comparison for you. So once again, don't expect these huge numbers. By the way, just so you know, when a Peloton is going up a climb, they are no less than 5 watts per kilo going up that climb. Okay, so 5 watts per kilo. So let's just round up 69 to 70 because that'll make the math nice and easy. That would be for me pushing 350 watts up a climb for however long that climb is. The attack from someone that jumps out of the Peloton is 6 watts per kilo or more, and a tour contender is at 6.2, 6.3, 6.4 watts per kilogram for about 20 minutes. And don't quote me on that. That's not exact, but those are real numbers. That's what the pro cyclists do when you see them attack up the road. So when you see the Peloton going up at about 5 watts per kilo, you're thinking, oh, I could hang in that Peloton. Everyone seems comfortable. Yeah, they're comfortable. The pace might be steady or might be high enough to you start to see the sprinters come off the back. But yeah, unless you could ride at 5 watts per kilo for about an hour, yeah, you're not hanging with the pro Peloton. Okay, that's all for today. Please like and subscribe. And please leave a comment down below. Do you like this type of content? Would you like to learn more about power meters and how to pace yourself and how to analyze power data? Okay, thanks so much. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you up the road.